And then I surfed this 6'2" mini Ghost
Oh yeah, yeah.
out front, and it actually goes really good.
Welcome back to the Insiders podcast. Myself and Dazza, we're back. He's in Australia. He's where he grew up, but we're committed to this cause and to record for you guys. So we're back. We're back with Hawaii, fresh, and a Hawaiian review. Review the winter as such, especially kind of WSL focused on this one. Before we dive in, how you doing, Daz?
Yes, not too bad, Matt. Starting to feel a little bit surf starved in a surf rich country.
Ooh.
I just came off the back end of a really good swell, which was apparently a cyclone swell. Was it Gabrielle? I'm not sure. I
Mm.
did get 2 good days out of it. It's just a case of a family holiday can never and will never be a surfing holiday.
No, sacrifices to be made.
It never will be.
No,
Uh,
no.
I've got 2 weeks. My family all leaves this week, and I've got 2 weeks to yeah, but I can that time I'm on domestic duties, but the surf's been firing in Europe so well in my part of Europe.
Yeah, the UK's been a bit weird. I've managed a little strike mission down south. Done a nice little strike mission, surfed a little reef, which is all good fun. And France has been firing like unbelievably. So I hope somebody there's holding it down in your absence because
I think there's plenty of dudes holding it down in my absence. Don't worry about that.
yeah.
So enough of our lame existences. What did you think of yesterday's climax to the Sunset Comp, Matt?
Yeah, I have to say I enjoyed it. I thought it was quite funny how when I first jumped on, I watched it all and they were kind of like, oh, this morning the surf's pumping. They showed some clips of Griffin and stuff. And then for the first couple of women's heats, it was slow. It was very, very lully. But I enjoyed the surfing and I thought it got better throughout the day. Uh, I have to say, like, I thought Jack Robinson through the whole event looked really good. I thought Griff looked good. Zhao Chanka's my new favorite surfer. I think he's mentally good.
I
Um,
was going to bring something up about him, but I'll get to that.
and yeah, ultimately I thought it was good. I thought it was a lot better than Pipe, which we'll get to as well. But I enjoyed it. It was a bit weird having the broken up swells, but that's just what we get.
And the right winner got it.
Yeah, I think so. I was slightly biased. I think I really wanted Griff to win, and I feel like if he had just one more wave in the final, I think he would have won it. But there was some serious surfing throughout. Like Ethan Ewing in the early rounds was just mental. And um, yeah, there was some really bad surfing as well.
I said to I've been hanging out a lot with one of my best mates back here, and we both have a similar um what's the word preference for surfing from our area. Like, we
Mm,
like beautiful rail surfing and stuff. And I was saying to him, like, all Ethan needs to do is catch waves, and he's our next hope. And my mate said to me, don't know about that. And he's right, because I don't know if he'll ever be that unbeatable surfer. I think he's that
mm.
surfer who looks untouchable. But if tomorrow you put Ethan and Jiao in a man-on-man at the finals. Let's just say they made the
Mm.
finals at Trestles, and it was even 4 to 6 foot. Who would you put your money on?
Yeah, it's you. I'd still want to put my money on Ethan, but like I complete. I feel like what your friend's trying to say and what you're trying to say is completely true. Is in a less subtle way of saying it, Jarochenko would stab someone to win, whereas Ethan Ewing wouldn't. Jarochenko would probably push an old lady in front of a car if it meant he could win, whereas Ethan wouldn't. And I
Well, if there was
understand
a
that.
15-minute lull, and honestly, this happens in every good spot, every bad spot in the
Mm,
world, you never get 0 to 30 minutes of non-stop waves. He'll just sit there. He doesn't need to, but he'll just sit there. And I don't think Jaroshenko will ever just sit there, which is
yeah,
Medina never did, Kelly never did, Mick never did.
no. And
At one stage, you got to pull the trigger.
I think that's why, in my opinion, I hear a lot of people talking about like Australia's next hope and stuff like this. For me, I think that's why Jack Robinson is ahead of Ethan at the moment. Is I think Jack has got a better game head. There's times where Jack will wait, but there's times where he gets really busy. Like I thought his heat against Nat Young, he surfed really well. And
He's got the yellow jersey.
yeah, joint, isn't it?
The
Yeah, joint.
interesting top five. Do you see that?
Yeah.
There, like honestly, I'd be thinking that Zhao, Griff, and Jack are really good chances for the top five,
Mm,
and then the best two other chances. Oh no, and Felipe, which means two other spots. Like where did John and Gabrielle fit in?
mm. I think there's a lot. This time last year, Kyle Belly was second in the world. So, um, I think there's still a long way to go.
Best
Um,
improved, KO Belly,
he's been surfing very good, but
most improved.
if you look like Griffin last year, he won events and then he'd lose round two, and this year he started with a round two loss and then a final. So, um, I think there's a long game to be played, but I think it does show like everyone's hyping up John and Gabby and stuff, but weirdly, I don't think either of them look bothered. I think they're just there to surf. Like, I think it looks like other people want it more than those two, which in the previous years, I don't think it's been the case. Um, but I think it's quite funny.
There's only two events though, and
Yeah,
surfing.
exactly.
Luckily for us, it's an incredibly like lucky sport. That's why so many of us can relate to it because Joe Blogs can go out and have the same session. Joe Blogs can go out and be in the surf with a better guy in the water, and Joe Blogs can get better waves.
And have more
And then
fun.
that happens from the most bottom of the rank to the top of the rank.
Yeah.
You've
What
always
about
got a crack.
what do you think about Molly Picklum? I was absolutely buzzing that she won.
It was great she won. I had a look. I read something about how she got pushed against Brisa Hennessy.
Yeah,
And I actually think she did. I don't think she should have got through the heat because I saw Brisa's wave after Molly's and
yeah,
I honestly think Brisa should have got a 6 on that last wave, or she should have won the heat just with that last wave.
I
Which
think
is
so.
it's hard to tell because you're not there. Like watching it on
Mm,
even on Heat Analyzer, it's nothing compared to seeing it like live, where Molly's kind of did a couple of half turns on critical sections, but the section was so critical that if you're watching that live, you think, well, just the fact that she went for that a turn in a certain position is going to give you an extra point. And
mm,
it would in real life too if you're watching someone. If someone attempts a turn or pulls into a section that's super critical, even if it's not as good as someone who's out on the shoulder, it's still more critical, which kind of equals high points. But It was a hard one to watch because the wave after, I just thought Brisa was that much better than her.
Yeah, I thought I completely agree. I think even the three commentators all were almost basically saying Brees is going to get the score and deserves the score, and then it didn't come through, and it was a little bit like all of them were quite shocked. But because for me, I would have gave Brees the score because she looked more aggressive towards that section. That one
Such a
turn she done,
subjective sport.
yes, such as because actually you're completely right because that then leads into the Steph Gilmore heat where there was like back to back waves with her against Tyler Wright and Tyler just done two turns but two really aggressive turns. Steph was actually on a bigger wave and her turns are so much more graceful but they didn't look as impactful. But she done like six turns and Tyler got an 8 and Steph got a 4.6 or something. And to me there wasn't 3.5
That
point
much of a.
difference.
Mm.
But that's where it's so subjective because especially like you say in person, Tyler was probably going or could have been going twice as fast or looks like she's going twice as fast. And then in that moment, judges just go 8, bang, done kind of thing.
I'll throw a quick side topic to this, but I think it's relevant. Uh, I think there's an inbuilt misogyny. How do we say that word, Matt?
Misogyny.
Misogyny, in the male psyche, which feels threatened when they see women do powerful turns. I read something somewhere about someone was ripping into Tyler. A lot of people like to rip into her. One because uh, she's LGBT. There's no
Mm,
hiding. It's what. Two, because she's muscular,
mm.
and people, men, not people, they're this that threatened by a woman doing powerful turns, and their thing is they should. I read this. They shouldn't have to surf like a man. They should be more graceful. And I was thinking, what if they like doing a powerful turn?
Yeah.
Feels good to them. You
Yeah.
understand
Well,
what I'm trying to point out?
yeah,
What is
100%.
what
Like
is
what
surfing like a man? What is that?
well,
Huh?
exactly.
It's only because they didn't have the chance to surf a lot of these different waves and events for many years.
And also, um, I completely agree. And also with Tyler, especially, she was raised by two brothers and two
Yeah.
like core and gritty
So
brothers.
she would have been
And
aspiring
you watch that grab
to.
rail, she does that down grab rail down carve thing that I think looks sick, and it's Mikey Wright all over it. And
He was younger than her, wasn't he? Yeah, he's
yeah, I
younger
think
than her.
he's the younger one, yeah. But you would know that she's probably learned that from him, and it probably feels fucking amazing when you do it as
Oh,
well
it
as they do
does.
it.
Yeah,
And
incredibly.
yeah, and like that's just that influence. I used to, funnily enough, you actually said it because I grew up playing cricket with a girl called Tammy Beaumont, who is now in the England women's team. She's a World Cup winner, phenomenal cricket player. And she used to play in every boys' league. And she had two older brothers. And I used to watch them in the nets. And there was no like, oh, it's Tammy, she's a girl, go easy. And she wanted them to go as hard at her as they would anyone else. And that's why she's got the ability to be one of the world's best women in her field. And that's the same, I think, with Tyler. And you're 100% right. I think I think anyone who criticizes her for her surfing the way she surfs or her choices in life, I think it's a bit of firstly, it's a threatened thing, and secondly, I think it's just a closed-minded bad thing. Like what
Everyone's going to have their own
what
technique, and
we said it we
there's a
said it
thing
before
which
as well. With like we said it before with people's choices and stuff. If Tyler's LGBTQ plus or whatever she is, and has a flag on the shoulder for it, and she's proud of it, then let her be. It doesn't change your life in any way.
it
So,
doesn't change your
so
life in any way. And
But
as
her
soon as
style,
soon as people, me, us included, start letting other people's decisions change their own lives, that's where we're losing.
yeah, exactly, 100%. And what you was about to say about her style, I love her style. I love how aggressive she is, and I don't think she surfs like a man. I think she surfs like an aggressive surfer, male or
Full stop.
female.
Yeah, which is funny, but I still think they're going okay with the judging, and it brings up that point I was trying to make to you a bunch of episodes ago against Katie Simmers, who I watched surf a
Yes.
couple of early rounds at Sunset. Like if you look at, like she had an elimination round, she just surfed fantastic. She just looked great and it was smooth and everything, but she still looked young and everything, which
Small.
is okay. And but
Yeah.
if a guy was doing that, like a young guy got through, anyone that used to do sort of stylish things that weren't as critical would get underscored.
Mm.
But because I think they haven't seen that so much, like her technique, like when she comes along, I don't want to be on the bandwagon, but she does have an incredible technique. So then she's just going to have to see if if her power can match that. Where we saw with Sophie, who we interviewed later this year, and that was like your topic. My friend was telling me again, she's won open comps here against the men,
Yeah.
and it's just a case of developing into it. And she's only a small girl, but she's like plenty of power.
Yeah. Well,
By the way,
I,
she ripped a tendon or something off her ankle,
yeah, at Snapper.
full operation.
Yeah.
So I guess she's coming back in
Apparently she done
maybe
exactly
Portugal.
what apparently it's exactly the same as what Lobby done last year at Pipe.
Okay.
But your point about Katie, I think I was actually going to bring that up because she surfed yesterday against Caroline Marks, and what was funny is she was surfing really well, but like I was watching it, and for the first time I was questioning it because no spray was or hardly any spray was coming off her rail, and then Caroline would go, and I think Katie surfs like to my what's the word I'm looking for preference. I prefer Katie surfing to Caroline Marks because I think Caroline Marks is quite repetitive and she's a very much a competition surfer. If I was watching a free surf edit with Caroline Marks, I'd probably turn it off. But she was hitting it and throwing so much spray, and then Katie was doing more variety in her performance, but there was barely any spray coming off of her rail, and I think that was the difference in their scores. And it did make her look. It made her
Less
look
critical.
small. It made her look like a little bit
Less
young.
critical.
Yeah, less critical, absolutely. So I think I completely agree with your point on that. But
And it's,
do you,
it's not a thing of size because Toledo's way smaller than Ethan Ewing.
mm,
If you put them next to each other, you wouldn't think someone could generate the same power, but he does.
I watched Felipe's thing, and Felipe does his bottom turn. As he's bottom turning, he I don't know how he does it, but he bottom turns and pumps at the same time. So he comes out with he comes out with even more speed. I was really impressed with Felipe yesterday. I I think his rail game is so good. He is very, very, very good. I still
He's
don't think
nearly he's nearly untouchable when he hits that speed, and he was yesterday.
yeah,
Because he
yeah, I
wasn't
agree.
on he wasn't on the better waves, but he was better.
Yeah, I think
And
you're
it
one.
wasn't a bad sunset comp, was it? I mean, they
No,
had one big day, and he got through the bigger day.
yeah,
It was actually like there were obviously rounds where it kind of looked pretty crap for sunset, but they were still able to produce world quality surfing. And if that was 2010, Kelly probably would have won still, or Andy. You know what I mean? The best people would win.
yeah. I wanted to talk to you about Kelly. He was on a Greg Webber board with Webber fins, and it had a 5 fin setup in it. And I thought his board looked awful. I thought it looked squirrely.
Yeah, my friend said the same thing to me. He just you'd think someone with such access to
Mm,
equipment
Do you think though he doesn't care about? He hates sunset. He hates it so much. Do you think he kind of thinks, well, I might as well go out here and just do something different because if I do what I normally do, I'm probably going to lose anyway.
I think he's been thinking that for the last 11 years. My age, that he's actually still trying to do it. So I need some sort of motivation to get you out of bed. It can't.
Yeah,
It's never gonna. He's never gonna have the same motivation as Jay Oceanka when he wakes up at the moment.
true, true. Um, talking about maybe not have.
I'm checking out the window to see if there's a chance of a surf. I still don't think there is. So
Before,
uh,
just quickly, I just want to shout out as well while we talk about fins. Callum Robson was on a hang with glass on fins, and I thought that was sick. So I just want to
I
point
didn't
out
see him surf. Did he look good?
he was
Knocked out.
he needed better waves. He needed better that
You
that
see,
was the
there's about 10 guys this year that are already half smashed. And like I'd said it earlier on, I just think Ryan Callahan's one of the most incredible free surfers, but
same.
it's just him and a couple of others, they just struggle
Mm.
under this format, and it'll always be like that.
Did you see Jackson Baker? That heat he
Yeah,
had.
yeah, yeah. That was such a pity.
I swear, just I don't know why he let Kanoa get that wave, but that was that was such a shame because he surfed better than anyone else, and I think that
It
surfing Jackson done in that heat was better than any surfing for the whole comp.
was
Uh,
equal to anything except for a couple of Ethan's ways, wasn't it? The way he hits the
yeah,
lip, like so late,
he just
it's just
destroys
that
it.
it was so unique as well.
Yeah,
You know, man, it wasn't even a carve. It's more of a. It's like from the 80s. It's hitting the lip, but he's hitting the lip and pivoting so late and vertical that just sending spray to the sky must feel
yeah.
so good. That's what he's claiming because it just feels so good.
It looked so good, and I just felt so bad for Jackson. But
You
yeah,
see
you're
how
right.
good
There's
Kanoa is. Kanoa's just so good because he's never out. He's
yeah,
never
you're
out.
100% right. Yeah, definitely.
He's never out. He's always got a chance.
But you're right as well. But you're right. There's people now that if they don't get a good result in Portugal, then
They're off.
they're looking at
No,
they're
there's still a
looking
few because you can win an event. Like
yeah,
Ryan has made the final, maybe, or semis at um
Bells.
Margaret River,
Oh,
West
Margaret River,
Australia.
sorry, yeah,
If you win an event, I got a pretty good chance you're gonna crack
yeah. Mm.
the 22 or whatever. You'd think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah,
you
yeah.
win an event. Huh?
You'd have had to have a terrible year to win one and fall off.
Look at that. Kanoa's down in 16. It's really weird.
Yeah, there's still such a group in at the moment, isn't there?
And
Where's
I
Leo?
got
Where's my boy?
smashed,
I
man.
said I was supporting
11,
Leo.
11. No, Liam's equal 11, and Leo's top.
Fifth.
Leo's number 4, huh? Coming into
Fifth.
Portugal, he can go pretty good in Portugal.
I said I supported him this year. But yeah, um, so moving from Sunset backwards to Pipe.
Probably one of the worst pipes comps we've seen, huh?
I just thought it was just horrible.
It was just so tedious. It's just such a pity how surfing's, but it's good for surfing, honestly, and for anyone listening to us on this podcast. I'm just trying to tell you, it's good for us because mainstream means more people in the water. We all work in the surf industry, and we're all guilty of putting more people in the water. But what we want is some sort of limit.
Yeah,
And if people come and try surfing, that's all good. But like it just shows you, like any surf trip you go on,
you think,
anywhere, anytime, is always wrought with anxiety because it's never
yeah,
always going to happen.
absolutely. I did feel very sorry for the WSL in a way that
Did you
But
hear him last year? Oh, yeah, it's because we moved it to January. The sand moves. That's the reason it's going to be great. It doesn't mean anything.
no,
It's
it's
just
just
a big roll of dice.
there's a higher power involved, and if they want you to be waves, there'll be waves, and if they don't, there ain't gonna be waves. But
And the comment we'll get. No, well, I'll just throw it in there now because Pipe was just so uneventful that you said to me earlier on the commentary. I just think they need a new production manager.
they just need to be real. Like, I
They
don't
need a
get
new
why.
production manager.
Yeah, like they sit. There was one day where I turned it on, and they were like, "Yeah, it's on. It's a beautiful day at Pipe. It's perfect conditions," and it flicked over, and Betty Lou Sakura Johnson got a 2.1 heat total on one, and I was like, "It's not perfect conditions, and you should have the freedom to say." Oh, we're running today because of this. They're less than ideal
When the Grand,
condition.
if the Grand Prix run in the rain, huh? What do
Yeah,
they do? They tell you about everyone's wet weather tires. They
yeah,
tell you who's better in the rain. They tell you all this stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Same in a rugby league match. He's got good hands when the water when it's wet. I
yeah.
guess it's the same with soccer. Uh, there's so many things that they could be talking about. I said this to Paul Evans the other week. They could be telling me uh, what they think. There's three dudes there. What they think someone has to do to get through this heat. Honestly, there's only 30 minutes where they got these two people in the water. There's plenty of things that you can
Mm,
discuss
100%.
without just being trivial or like the production manager yesterday, there was 9 minutes to go and Ethan hadn't even had a wave and they went to an ad break.
Yeah. And I completely agree. And I think like with the pipe example as well, is it to me, what I liked about Sunset is they had Pete Mel and they had Strider on the mic rather than in the water. And they keep it a bit more real. Like there was a couple of times yesterday where Strider was like, that's safety surfing, that's not the score. Like he puts his neck on
Yeah,
the
no,
line.
Strider's really good.
He's
Strider and
bet
Lorna, and
Yeah,
most of them can be good. I just think they're being given the wrong directives.
I think so. I think they've like
Well, it's inbuilt, this
they've,
directive.
yeah,
The
Kaipo
code of
and
silence, everyone can calls it.
yeah. That's it. Kaipo, like the I call it the wall of positivity. It's like they
You
will
don't
not.
just call it that. That's been that someone
Well,
else penned
yes,
that. Don't steal it for
it's
yourself.
about like they say it about everything, don't they? Like
Plagiar.
I've heard it about that the Saudi Arabian Gulf thing all the time as well. It's like they won't say anything bad about it. But it's like sometimes you just get more like respect and more like kudos from people when you actually come out and go, yeah, the conditions aren't that great today, but we've got to run today so that the finals can be in good conditions. Like, oh, sweet, fair enough. At least we understand your decision making because when you send someone out and a 2 point heat total gets a win like that's
That's where
just
they can be, instead of projecting all this rubbish for the non-core market, that's where they can be explaining to the non-core market, look, huh? There's a
yeah,
weather there's a weather pattern. They've all got access to premium surf line. They can be showing the premium surf line every day for the next 2 weeks and going, this is why we're making this decision.
yeah,
If you
exactly.
don't like it, switch. You
Yeah,
don't have to say that because there's a rule that you never say negative, but that's why I'm making the decision. It's the best day. It's a roll of the dice. Let's see what the boys can achieve. Because that's what a
yeah.
world champion is, the person who's going to win. Well, it used to be over the year, but it's still a case where to get to the top five, you still have to win in non ideal conditions.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. That's exactly my point is inform people of why that decision's been made. Same as won't go into it, but the same as why they make the I want them to do that with wildcards. Why like explain why that person is in and how he got in because then it makes more sense to me because like how Keanu Singh is surfing on a world tour event baffled my brain. Like I was like, what's going on? And I don't know how he got picked, other than I think he was the second highest Hawaiian Challenger
in the
Series,
regional thing or something like that.
or yeah. But then like I know that Imai Kalani Devolt was in pipe, but not in Sunset. I don't get it, but
Where
holy
Emi would have
rabbit
went
hole.
better, would have went better in that part of Sunset comp. But like the best winners, the best two of the best won pipe though. Huh? As a recap, Jack won the men's and Carissa won the women's. She
Mm.
deservedly won the women's, and Jack uh, won the men's in what wasn't really pipe, but he won. He went good in the previous rounds. He got won every one of his heats
Yeah, if you
with
look at
his
his
back
heat as
against
well,
the wall.
he had John, Gabby, and Jarochenko. So he beat he had to win it.
John had still some of the best moments of the whole leg, didn't he?
Fuck that John wave. The fact that the fact that both cameramen stopped filming it and Kaipo went, "Oh, he hasn't made it," and then suddenly he came out the end of it.
And
The
then he
two
did the same thing at sunset with a deep tube on the foam ball.
the two people who didn't give the John wave 10 at pipe, they need to be fired straight up. Because there's nothing more than a 10. That's the most 10 of a wave I've ever seen a 10.
You
Because
think, huh?
I've yeah, I've never seen someone not make a wave that they shouldn't have made by so much of a margin than that
But
10.
you know, we don't necessarily know if that people that didn't score him actually did get revved. Because maybe they did, huh? Maybe they got smashed by the boss.
Yeah, hopefully. But
You'd think, because enough people have talked about it.
and do you think that
And he missed
say
out on his Yeti Esky.
yeah, say in 2 years' time, do you think anyone's going to look at the Jack Robinson, like they'll see Jack Robinson's name and they'll see winner of the Pipe Pro or whatever? Do you think any of them will go, oh yeah, but it was like 2 to 3 foot pipe?
No, 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 no.
They're not
A
going to
couple of
care.
people will. You're still just on the trophy, aren't you?
Whereas I think if Felipe won it, people would forever remember the conditions.
Yeah, it's not. It's not really fair, is it?
No,
Jack's
but
still got work to do on to to be able to match, and now he's got to match another one with Jo coming on as
as hot as he
Jo.
is,
Is it like I saw? It was a flash in the pan, and it always made me laugh a bit because I saw Adrian D'Souza surf and Hossegor Le Bourdain when he was 17 on the back in the day. It was a WQS to qualify, and he was this tiny little being. Huh? That was before he kind of filled out and got
Mm.
quite solid. He was untouchable, man. There was a lot bigger and other dudes around. He was like 16, 17, and it was solid Bourdains at the time in summer. It was 4 to 6 foot, and he was out at the back blasting. Like it
Really,
was just watching like a Mr. Energy. I can't forget the expression I was looking for then. Like the little energizer dude who used to be in
the
the ads for
Energizer
the
Bunny.
batteries. Yeah, and that's what Joe's got. He's got that it's not your size, it's your energy levels and your will.
Yeah, he's just got a bit of a spark about him at the moment. I think he's just feeling very confident. He's got a couple of good boards under his feet as well.
He
So
had that spark last year. He just kind of got lucky. He came up against John, who
yeah,
wasn't sick or who wasn't like falling off. Like John, I did read he was sick all week, and
yeah, I read that
I
as well.
reckon that's a pretty good excuse. If you've had a bad flu all week and you go out and surf 6 to 8 foot sunset, it's just like it just shows he is the best, but the other guys are gooder.
Yeah,
The other guys are good, and if you get smashed and pick the wrong wave and spend the rest of your heat paddling, you're not going to get through.
yeah, and if you are ill and you're up against like an ill John, isn't better than a fully fit Nat Young,
No,
whereas a fully fit John is better than everybody.
seems. We haven't seen Gabriel though. He still looks untouchable to me. He nearly looks more untouchable than John.
Mm. Looks like he just doesn't care, and I love that. Uh,
I don't know about that. I just think he got beaten in his heat as well again by Mother Nature.
mm. The backside no grab tube that he got was sick.
Yeah, it was great.
Looked just so casual, so nonchalant. I was like, yes, that's so good.
There's that top echelon as well. You saw with Jack can get tubes where other people can't get tubes.
Yeah,
Jack comes out of tubes where other people can't come out, like John John.
yeah. The one yesterday against Nat Young, it was like there was barely a wave, and then suddenly he finds a double barrel, and he's just like absolute tube hound.
I came from an era where there were two top dogs. There was Kelly and Andy, and then but there was like on your hand, there was the freaks. There was Kelly and Andy, and then there was Taj, Mick, and Parko,
Yeah.
right? And that five guys, you would always expect to see one of them in the final or the semis. Always. They were just that. They were that five. They were like the superpowers. And now I'm going to do my top five on the superpowers, and you tell me about. I reckon you've got John John and Gabe, Felipe, and Jack Robinson. I've just got top four actually. Yeah, they're the ones that I'm thinking are the new four superpowers because they can kind of do everything. And Jack has got where he doesn't have that Felipe touch in small wave, he's got in bigger wave and
Mm.
making the heat.
I agree. In my opinion, I see it as there's like instead of there being like a top five and then a big drop off, I see it as a top four and then a very close four behind them. So I see it as the same four that you mentioned, and then I think very small gap, and then you've got um Ethan, Griffin, Kanoa,
Kanoa.
and Italo as like the
Yeah, yeah,
next
we've
four.
completely forgotten Idolo. We didn't even mention him this whole thing.
Yeah.
You must be happy about that.
Oh yeah, he's just
I
yeah,
think he'll come back.
I'm not hating him, but I
No,
know
no,
I've
I
just
think
mentioned him, and I think that that other four, you would never be surprised if you saw any of them win, but they have the capability of losing in a second round or being in a final, which
and then there's a couple of crew trying to knock on the door for that, like Zhao and Leo.
yep,
Just
yeah,
see how they
exactly.
go.
Yeah, Joe and Leo and
There's your top 10,
yeah,
really.
yeah. And then it's funny because like you're not even mentioning people like Geordie or Kolohe or anybody like that anymore.
It's funny, huh?
Yeah.
It's
It,
amazing that Geordie should or could have like he was a favorite. He's a favorite at Sunset.
Sunset, yeah. Geordie should be a favourite at Sunset. You are 100% right. But moving,
Geordie would also moving forward. Sorry, I just jumped because we were talking about it. You'd think he'd be a favorite at Bells. You'd
yeah.
think he'd be a favorite at Margaret's.
Andy usually
This is
seems
the
to do well
strongest
in
tour
Portugal.
we've ever seen.
I literally was about to ask you that. Is
Yes,
I just look at men's side like today I was picking my fantasy team for Portugal. It will change and stuff, but I was like, I like to get it in just in case something happens and I forget. Um, and I was like looking through and I was just like, everyone's
that's a
well good.
horror. That's a horror of a comp to pick.
Yeah.
I got
I had,
smashed, man. I got smashed because I'm in this go homes thing. And we're looking at 2.5K in prize money over the season,
mm,
2,200. You know who I had in my sunset team
um, yeah,
with a double bonus?
I don't even want to, go on.
Sunset winner, sunset comp winner,
Really?
Zeke Lau.
Oh, right. Yeah. I'd done someone over hard at work. Someone asked me like who he should pick for his survival thing, and I said, "Oh, Zeke's sick out there. Zeke would." And then Zeke interfered with stuff, and
Who did you pick for your survival?
Leo.
Oh, so he got through.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
good.
saw the interference with
Great
Sammy
pick.
Pupo, and I was like, thank the Lord.
But look at Zeke, bottom of
Yeah,
the pack. I I think that was weird. That was weird. But why was he doing it?
13 seconds to go.
Why would you lead him?
Apparently it's another watch issue or something, but
That's too late. They don't go back on decisions like that. So Zeke and he seems to cop a lot of hate out there. I think it's because he's aggressive, which well, aggressive or passive. Everyone's got their own personality, but you look at a couple of guys like him and Jacko Baker, and in two events, they're nearly looking like they're already off tour. They
yeah,
can turn things around.
I was
But
gonna
how
say,
do you
but
turn things around like when there's a top 10 we were just talking about?
yeah, exactly. I was about to say, you look at it and then you're like, oh, Jacko Baker could do decent in Portugal depending on conditions, should do well at Bells and could do really well at Margaret River. And then you're like, yeah, but he you look at the when I look at the men's now and I look at the round three heats, because where we do
You
survival,
get a good chance of coming up against Jack,
yeah,
John, Gabrielle. Yep. One of
Kanoa,
them three.
Kanoa,
You call
Griff.
Genoa,
I mean, we haven't
Ethan.
even mentioned Yago Dora, one of my favorite
Yeah.
surfers on tour. Like, and you're looking at these people and you're like, because like I say, with survival, I'm looking at like round three, like potentials and stuff. And I'm like, there's not an easy round three anymore unless you get Carlos Munez. And he's probably going to lose in round two anyway.
And to Joe Blow, he's just an incredible surfer.
Yeah.
Do you think Molly can beat Steph at Trestles and Carissa? Still too young.
I don't know. I think she can. Like some
In
of the maneuvers,
radicalness,
she can do airs and stuff. So I think she could beat him by doing something completely different.
do you think Tatiana can make the top five again?
Just, yes. So actually, that's a great link into it's early doors, but I'm going to say it now. I reckon Portugal, I think Kanoa's going to win it, and I think Tatiana's going to win it.
I I wouldn't bet against Canal, but I don't think Tatiana's going to win it.
Who do you think?
Portugal, I think Tyler Wright.
I've put money on Tyler Wright to win the world tour this year, to win the whole thing
She's
this year.
she's got that pump about her. She looks happy, and she's ripping. And like people, I analyze that with myself. Why didn't I like seeing her do the layback? But she's not just doing that now,
Yeah.
and she's got a fantastic. She's got an arsenal front side or backside, and she got barreled, man. She
I
got
was gonna
barreled
say
at
she,
right.
yeah, she could get in a barrel for sure. Who do you think's going to win the men's? Portugal.
Portugal men's Gabriel.
Yeah, that's my backup pick, but I thought I'll go out there. I'll do something slightly different and say Kanoa, but yeah, I could see Gabby absolutely lighting it up out there.
It's
But
funny how we like you don't think of John there, do you? Even though we could, but I just
well,
can't see 4 rounds in good barrels.
you usually John's like John and Geordie do very well at Portugal usually whenever they're there.
I reckon John
But
will have wave of the event.
yeah,
They should bring something like that in. Wave of the event. Why wouldn't you have that?
yeah. Because they do it at
Wave of the event, heat of the event.
yeah, because at like
You get a consolation prize.
yeah, because at so the two things actually that reminded me of that is at Chopu they have the like the Andy
AI.
Irons Award or the AI
Yeah.
Award. They could have that for every event. And also when Van's done the Pipe Masters, they done like wave of the day or whatever of the day and barrel of the day and stuff. And they gave like a £500 cash prize out and stuff. I think that's a like that would make it more get the fans to vote for it, and then it makes it more interactive and makes it better for people as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I reckon Gabby could go mental. I'm actually in Portugal when the event's on, so you might see
Oh,
me.
right.
You
Down
might
in the down in the Pure Surf Lodge.
down in the premium,
It's an
like,
incredible spot. You'll love
yeah.
it.
But I don't know
We're going
how
to
far.
throw that in. Great place for anyone to visit. I mean, if you want to escape Northern Europe without leaving the continent, even though you would say leaving the continent for UK is Portugal, but the southern tip of Portugal is just incredible. Huh?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I looked because I'm trying to prepare for this trip. I looked yesterday, so it's
You won't need booties.
20th of February, and it was 17 degrees in the water, 17 degrees out of the water. Like, I was just like, get my free two out.
Don't expect there to be no people.
Oh no, I know there's gonna be people. Like, it's
We're
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah,
Hey, so I got a couple of sick do's and don'ts.
yeah. Let's wrap up. Let's right. You jump in both. Hit me with both your do's and don'ts.
So mine are travel related because I had a 36-hour period of peak disaster, Matt, before I left for Australia. So my do is get your shit together a month before. A month before. Huh? Like the day before, I was up up late thinking, oh, I need to get my sleep. I had everything ready. And then I said to myself, hey, I wonder where my French um, residency card is. Because I had been in my wallet earlier that day. And like, when you notice something without taking notice of it,
Yeah,
I noticed it wasn't in there, but I didn't take notice of it. So I go check my wallet. It's not in there. Couldn't find it anywhere in the house. So I've left the country without my residency card. Like I can just travel on my passport, but there is a chance coming when I leave Australia. They said it to my oldest son flew back the other day, and they did ask him for his French card because we're on a one-way flight back.
mm, yeah,
So I've got another thing I got to wing through. If I had have looked into it a month before, I took it out for that Lenore comp I did and took a photo scan of it
yeah,
with my phone in the car. The classic stuff, when your phone's about to run out of battery. So I had to go and my only charger was in the car. So I'm charging it. I'm sure I know it happens to everyone. Huh? You see people everywhere in this modern world doing that stuff. But the moral of the story is if I had checked a month before, I would have located that card and saved myself a fair bit of stress.
yeah, yeah. I'm in that position. Like you say, I'm going to Portugal. I'm kind of managing it for 10 people, and um I've kind of told everybody that everything needs to be done by the end of this week, and they're kind of all surprised
Give
about it
everyone a
because
checklist and say to them, have you all got travel documents?
yeah, well, all of them are surprised because I'm doing it, and they're like, "Wait, I thought we was going on this date," and I'm like, "Yeah, we are, but I'm not treating this like every other thing in the surf world and every other surfer where you leave everything to the very last minute. Like the amount of people that ring me up and go, I need a board for my trip. And I go, oh, when you go? And they're like, 2 days time. I'm like, wow. Like, so yeah, definitely, it's
Yeah, it used
definitely
to
a
happen
good
to me at
do.
Euroglass as well. I think that's silly.
Get your shit together, people. That's definitely a good do. What's your
And
don't?
my don't is don't have high expectations. I didn't, and I'll try. I didn't have high expectations. I'm 2 weeks in an apartment behind the beach at Maroochydore, and I've yet to have one great day. And now I'm going into my second. Like yesterday, I surfed for 10 minutes. It
Really?
was that small and onshore that
Boardies?
I was the only one on the beach surfing. Uh,
Boardies?
yeah.
Oh, that's okay then.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, boys. The water's warm as toast. Like it's, but it's like literally unsurfable, Matt. It's unsurfable.
Heartbreaking. That is
Yeah,
heartbreaking.
it is a little bit. I'm lucky because I had a really good run of waves back home, and I wanted it to be flat so I could surf with my son. But I got here and we were on a cyclone swell and that was good and everything. But you just can't have expectations. You just got to go
Yeah,
somewhere and 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 do your best to surf. If
yeah,
you really want like an unconditional love back from the ocean, you're going to have to pick a really good spot like Indonesia in prime season and still not have too high expectations.
yeah. Because then you got to battle the crowds.
Because,
Okay,
like, look,
cool.
Sunset, they've gone well. Sunset, they went well. This is the best of the best, picking the best spots in the world in the best window.
Yeah,
And even bad Sunset ended up being pretty decent compared to if you went to Rio, you got way less chance.
yeah. It's funny to think before I jump into my do's and don'ts that almost this time last year you were surfing Sunset, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I was getting ready to go to Hawaii.
Yeah. So my do's and don'ts actually came from my little strike mission last weekend. Um, so my do is utilize friends in different zones of whether it's the world or your country.
Do it. That's spot on. You just
So
gotta use.
my friend, my great friend Stu, I don't think he listens to any podcasts, but um, he's got a house that. So the trip for me on a strike mission is 4 hour drive, and he's got a house that he built this man cave in the back of his back garden last year. It's got a double pull out bed, and I was speaking to him about. I was saying I'm gonna come down on Sunday, and he went. He said to me on the Friday, he went, "Come down Saturday night, sleep in the man cave. We'll get up early, but it'll save you doing it all in one day." Done it. Cruised down there on the Saturday night, no rush. He made me a hot chocolate as I arrived. Had a
Ooh.
sick sleep. Up at 6:30 in the morning. We went and surfed this we went and surfed this sick reef.
Why the hot chocolate? You still off the terps?
Yeah, yeah.
Good
I've
work.
anything. Yeah, clean. Um, and then yeah, we went and surfed some reef, and then that leads me into my don't, which is don't wait around too long because so we were surfing. I won't say where the reef was, but in later in the day when and surfed Croyd, and like low tide Croyd is known to get a bit hollow, and it's better when it's low tide. Like the banks and stuff are good. And we waited and waited, and the wind was really offshore. And as it was meant to go to low tide, the wind was meant to completely drop, and it didn't. And we then basically got to the point where we had to get in because otherwise the sunlight would have run out and stuff. And it was just kind of like we should have got in earlier, but we tried to wait. And so just if there's a
You
wave, get
gotta
in,
just go. You just
just
gotta
get
go.
in. Yeah. So they're my do's and don'ts.
I surfed the other day and it was really small, but clean and fun. And two of my mates came out and I had a quick session and I hadn't had brekkie. And I was thinking, oh, I'll just have a quick brekkie. I'll go in, I'll have a quick brekkie and come back.
Wave
And by the
disappeared.
time I did that, they put the clubby flags in front of the bank. Then the wind turned. Then all the nippers turned up.
Oh,
It was like
yeah,
it was a wrong decision. Don't come in if you don't have to, and get in if you're there.
yeah.
Like you
Just just get in and stay in. Like,
get
it's,
in and stay in. That's it. That's it. You don't
but
know when your next opportunity is going to happen, huh? Do you?
no, exactly. But on that front, I surfed a 6-2 morning of the earth on the reef, and it
How'd
was
it go?
oh, it's so good. It's so fast. Um, so comfortable on it. And then I surfed a really interesting 6'7" super pinny tail with like wing Morris Cole twin fin at low tide Croyd, so it's known for getting hollow and stuff. And that I got the full barrel vig and then just got at like I was like backside, pulled in, it coned over me. I was like, I'm in, and then it just shut down and I just bounced off the sand and I came up laughing my head off and I had an amazing time. So both boards went well and
I've
it was
surfed
just
some sick pretty boards too. Huh? I surfed a lost step driver 6'5" off my friend,
Nice.
which was good, but I was struggling with it. And like the waves weren't good, huh? But I still got a couple of where I thought, oh, this is fun. And my friend kind of, I thought there was something wrong with it. And then he said to me, oh, yeah, I thought it was dead. So it's funny
Yeah.
how boards can be picked. And then I surfed this 6'2" mini Ghost
Oh yeah, yeah.
out front, and it actually goes really good. So it's
Yeah.
such a weird nose, but went really good. And now I'm on a 7.0 epoxy twin fin from this young, he's not even young, local school principal that used to be like best surfer of the
Far out.
beach, Damon Weir, and he lent it to me, and he shapes under his house. He's got his
That's
own
mad.
shaping bay. This is Australia for you.
Yeah.
And this board goes epic. But as soon as I got it off him, the wind came.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
It's just
crazy.
curse of the
Board
wind.
testing season.
Ah, get amongst it. Well, thanks for having me, Matt. I'm going to go out and
That's stoked.
see if
Thanks
we
so
can
much for
slow down.
Thank you very much for jumping on while you're on holiday. Hope the family are
And
well. Hope you're on
let's
short
speak
terms
in
off.
another week.
Take care, buddy.